So let's talk about a little bit about our next guest before he gets ready to come on. Tre Donaldson.
Yeah.
This guy was people don't know this, but he was a really good football player and everything. And I'm gonna talk a little bit more about him that once he gets on here in depth. But when I watched him play basketball last year, I said, man, this guy's solid. Like from his physique, I could tell he was a two-sport star in high school. And,
Right.
he really came on late in the year for this basketball team. I think he's going to be someone this year that they're going to need to depend on a little bit from the 3-point line. When he did shoot it confidently, he was really good in the Iowa game. And he was really good in the first half of the Houston game. So I think he has a lot of confidence coming into this next season with Bruce Pearl and especially with the guys that they was able to bring back along with the guys that they got to bring in.
Yeah. And I'll be shocked if he doesn't take more of a leadership role, right? I mean, we kind of saw him behind a few guys at the point guard position, especially early on. And over the course of the season, he kind of became the true backup point guard. But he'll kind of know his role going into the season. And, the guy that's probably going to be starting at the point is a true freshman. And so then, Trey's probably going to be a guy that's a leader as far as, how the guards stack up. So I imagine this will be a very different offseason for him.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. It has to be a confident one. I like how many times we get a chance to say a kid's coming back next year. It's crazy the times we live in.
Right.
I was talking with a coach yesterday and she was telling me she coached women's basketball and she's my cousin. She coached at another school and we were talking and she was just like, you used to be able to say, if I have a freshman or sophomore, man, when they get juniors and seniors, we're going to be really good. But now you can't even say that because you can't even say what your team next year is going to look like because at the end of the year, whoever you think may be coming back, all of a sudden they may be leaving. They may be transferring. And so you can't do that anymore as a coach. You always have to say, okay, we have to recruit when the season over with our own players, and then we have to recruit others to come in. But we're not going to really know what our basketball team is going to look like until probably the end of July. And so, it's a lot that they have to deal with nowadays as far as the coaching staff putting together these basketball programs. We talked about football earlier a little bit before we started the show, but from a basketball perspective, like you just never know. And I think that's why Bruce Pearl goes after a lot of guys that he feels like has something to prove. I'm going to go get 2 top players in high school, but then I'm going to fill my roster with a lot of other guys coming in as well.
Right. Yeah. Kind of get that balance of, the upside of some younger guys and then, the stability of some veterans. We saw that when he went out and got a guy like Janai Broome last year. And, he was such a staple of what this team did. And, he went out and got a lot of experience this offseason too. And so I'm curious to see Trey's thoughts on some of his new teammates. But Bruce Pearl's done such a good job at getting guys that gel together culturally. And I mean, these guys are together all the time. I mean, any sport is, but basketball is a smaller roster than most sports. And so, I mean, those guys got to be close. Chemistry is such a big part of it with passing and kind of know what everybody else is going to do. And that's how Bruce Pearl's really been able to do a lot with the talent that he's got is all those guys trust each other and they love each other. I mean, it's a family. And that's a key part of it too, when Bruce Pearl looks for guys.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm going to ask Trey about that. I saw him out at the lake, Lake Martin enjoying themselves and talk to him a little bit about that. But we're not going to hold him too much longer. I can see him getting himself situated. This guy's from Tallahassee, Florida. Like I said, he was a thumper in football as a defensive back, played some quarterback as well. This guy has many irons in his club bag, as we say in golf. So let's just go ahead and bring Trey on and introduce himself and get going. Trey, how you doing?
Good. How are y'all?
I'm doing good. I'm Jason Campbell, the host of the On to Victory Collective podcast. I got my guy Zac Blackerby on here with us, who's works with Locked On to Auburn. And so we'll just kind of go rapid fire, asking questions back and forth, and then we'll finish up with you with 5 quick questions to just kind of let the Auburn family know a little bit more about you. So, first of all, man, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for your time. Trey, it's been a you played for one of the guys that I grew up admiring in Charlie Ward. I was a quarterback in high school and played basketball in high school as well. I actually signed to Auburn to play football and basketball, and I ended up just sticking with football. But talk about what it was like to play for Charlie, but then also talk about what made the decision you choose basketball over football?
Playing for Coach Ward was amazing. With me coming out of high school, planning on playing both sports, him just being able to being one of the best guys to ever do it, him mentoring me on how to go about it and stuff like that, and how to go the right way about it and managing it, and then mentally getting me prepared for it. It was big for me, and I appreciated him a lot for it. But I mean, he was a great coach, and then with him being being an NBA guard, he was able to help me extremely with basketball on just like highlighting stuff like that, how the NBA translates to college and stuff like that, and the little things I'm gonna have to make sure I do if I want to get to that next level, which I want to do.
Yeah.
Trey, what's the biggest difference between this offseason for you and last offseason? I mean, now you've played in the SEC, played a big role in the SEC. Your role kind of expanded over the course of the season. And now, okay, you've probably got a better lay of the land as far as entering this first full off season for you. How are you approaching it differently?
Just mentally. Mentally, it's nothing different physically. Workout plans are the same and stuff like that. I just want to mentally just making sure I'm strong, mentally strong, just prepared and more mature than I was coming in last year. And just being that leader on the team and stuff like that, that's going to be big. And then just earning my respect from everybody, just from a wide standpoint.
Yeah, and Trey, we noticed last year towards the end of the season, like you begin to shoot the ball more, and especially in that Iowa game, man, you had a great game, and then you had that first half of the Houston game as well. Talk about it. Is it just kind of getting like, okay, I feel like I found my place, I found my place and my role in this offense now. Now I can feel like I can just kind of let it go. Is it a confidence thing, or is just like I just feel like it was just time for you just to take another level?
I mean, through the season, there was a lot of ups and downs. But I mean, like I said, my confidence when the stage is set and it's go time and lights are on, I feel like especially March Madness. That's one of the biggest stages of basketball in every year. So I mean, when the lights came on, my confidence was through the roof. But I mean, I guess it was more to it than what everybody knows with me up and down all season. But yeah, when the lights come on, I'm a guy that's gonna show up every time. So just shooting the ball was nothing. I've always been able to do that. It was just the opportunity presented itself, and I took full advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah. And Auburn folks are glad that you did, for sure. So, I mean, growing up, every kid that plays basketball, they dream of playing in the NCAA tournament, being a part of March Madness. Was that what you thought it would be now that you've played in 2 NCAA tournament games?
Yes, but I like everybody doesn't really like highlight the first couple rounds. The ones you want to play and the ones that are, I mean, don't get me wrong, those are going to be memorable, especially because I played so well in them.
Yeah.
But those late rounds, those are the ones we want to get to this year, where those are really going to put a stamp on history here at Auburn.
Yeah, you look at y'all team coming back this year. You know, you get the 2 big victories in getting Jalen back, and then you also get Janiyah back. Then you look at your recruiting class, and then you look at the transfer portal. And I'm pretty sure most of you guys have had opportunity to get on the court and kind of run a little bit with each other, you know, playing a little 5-on-5. I also saw y'all out at Coach Pearl's, I guess, at Lake Martin, interacting together as teammates. Talk about, you know, building that camaraderie between your teammates, being out at Lake Martin, but then also what you've seen so far from some of the guys and just pickup games running together over the summer.
I mean, the group we have now, everybody's here besides one. We're really close. For us to be only together for a couple of weeks now, it's crazy how close we are already. Last year, the team wasn't as close. We had some older guys that were just like separated from the team and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this year, we have a team that's came together and decided that we're going to be together, and our bond's going to be stronger. And I feel like, and we all think that's going to make us a better team, and we'll be able to make a stronger push in the dance. So I mean, these guys, the guys are great. They're good energy guys. I mean, it's going to be exciting. We're going to play a lot faster.
Yeah.
Well, and it seemed like 3-point percentage was something that Bruce Pearl and the staff chose to go after. I mean, all these guys that are coming in, they have a track record of shooting the ball from deep really, really well. Is that something that was discussed amongst the team that you guys are going to try to do more of that? I mean, Bruce Pearl is still the coach, obviously, but or is it more than that?
Man, everybody knows BP's offense. He wants to get back to running it fast and quick and pace and getting up shot 3 balls in transition. He loves shooting 3 balls in transition. So I mean, I feel like it's just BP being BP and BP's system. That's exactly how it's that he found guys that fit exactly in his system well and put them around the guys that we already have.
Yeah, I always call his system similar to Steve Kerr's system with the Golden State Warriors. The way he just lets you guys just kind of shoot. You can pull it from anywhere. It's like it's a no for anybody. There's not like even Janai will shoot a three sometimes. And, it's like he doesn't care who's shooting it. I think it's all about hustle and effort. And one thing about when you shoot the three, as a guard, you got to be able to get back and stop the fast break if there's a long ball that comes off the rim. So talk about like in practice, like how intense are y'all practices as far as like, fast paced drills?
Everything we do is fast paced because, like I said, that's how BP likes to play. So like just when you're getting up shots, like it's gonna be fast paced. So you don't really like pay serious attention to it. But the main things that BP's focuses on is the little things, like you said, being a guard, shooting 3 balls and stuff like that for long rebounds. The little things like one of us, either the one or the two guard, getting back on defense to stop the transition, like you said. Just little things like that. 4 guys going to rebound, and then the other guard running through the free throw line just in case it's not as long as a rebound, and one of those guys tip it out. One of the other guards can get it, but he's also transitioning back in defense as well. So I mean, just little things like that. That's BP's main focus. Us going hard and stuff like that, he doesn't. That's nothing he really he has to reiterate or pay attention to because he knows we're going to do that. He's gone out and got guys like me and Janai and guys like that that are going to do those things anyway. So that's not really a thing he has to worry about.
Trey, as far as how you prepare now, we talked about what the team's doing, but you specifically, if you're working out by yourself, what exactly are you working on right now? Is it primarily shots? Is it ball handling? Is it defense? What does that look like?
I mean, obviously I want to get better on the defensive end, but I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not just working on anything specific. The summers, BP always tells us the summer is about us. So I mean, I'm working on all aspects of my game, but mainly just showing the new guys and the younger guys and the older guys that I'm gonna be a guy this year that's gonna step up in that leadership role and take control of the team.
And being in a heavy SEC season this year, from top to bottom, I thought the SEC was very competitive. If you think about some of the tough games that you guys lost and some of the tough games that you won, what would you say to be a big emphasis on this year that y'all can do better playing into a tough conference again, which I think is going to be heavily loaded again? What are some things you learned from last year that you think is going to propel you guys this year?
Just take care of the ball and shot selection. I feel like we had some bad shot selection last year, and then just being unselfish with the ball. And then at the end of the day, there's no special formula to it. Just playing Auburn basketball. A lot of those games that we lost, the one game we lost, we got blew out was Kentucky, but all the other games we were in there. We were in the door. We were supposed to win, and we were up at one point in all of them. So and late in the game as well. So I mean, just playing Auburn basketball, doing what we know, and closing out games, making free throws, getting to the line late in games, and getting stops.
You guys got a lot bigger. I mean, going back to the transfer discussion, I mean, the guys that they brought in, like 6'7" seems to be like a normal height for a lot of your teammates that have joined the roster now. How does that help you when you're kind of the first guy that they've got to get past defensively, knowing that all the dudes behind you are like 6'7" or bigger?
I mean, help defense is big, but I mean, it's still BP always says competing to keep your guy in front. So I mean, if I happen to get beaten, to know those big guys are behind me is a great feeling. Just to know that length, it's not that many. There's not going to be that much space to drive gaps and stuff like that as long as we're in the right positions like we're supposed to be. And so it's a good feeling as a guard.
Yeah. And like I said, to be able to have that help behind you because there can be opportunities for block shots and get out on the fast breaks and everything. We're leading to that. Let's talk about the young freshman that everyone signed at, trying to call his name right now, just messing it up. But our freshman high talented freshman, we just signed. Everyone's looking at him to kind of help push the pace a little bit as well, which I think is going to help you be able to free up and shoot a lot of 3 balls. What have you seen so far from a young guy?
I mean, he shoots the ball well. I mean, we haven't really seen much because we haven't played really that much. But I mean, from what I've seen, he shoots the ball really well, and he's a good kid.
Right. So, as far as bringing in these new guys. I mean, you're not the new guy anymore. You're not the true freshman anymore. What's kind of your role that you've kind of either put on yourself or maybe the coaches asked you to do something? But as far as making sure these guys feel welcome, feel loved, because I mean, chemistry, Jason and I were talking about this before you joined, but like team chemistry always seems to be a big priority for what Bruce Pearl likes to do with his teams.
Yeah, just taking up on the leadership role, showing the guys the ropes and stuff like that. And then at the same time competing as well. That's just the biggest thing. Just being a leader. Being the leader is a really big thing. We lacked that at points last year. So just being a leader all times, even when it's good or bad, that's been the biggest thing with these guys to show the new guys, because we want to get Auburn back on top like it's always been with BP.
Right. And like I said, Trey, you experience is something you can't teach. And I always say each year that you play is always a different season. You learn something from each season. You learn something from each game. And like I said, you finished the season strong, which told a lot about yourself, that each game you was taking in knowledge, you was getting better. And when you got to a point where you felt more comfortable to release the ball more, you were able to do that. And now heading into this off season, you're more of a leader because you can talk from experience. To a lot of the young guys that's coming in, they need to know that. Even the new guys that coming in, just because they was in college and playing ball somewhere else, Auburn is still different. You still got to reinsert yourself when you get here. And I think guys will be able to lean onto you and Jalen and Janiyah to help these guys to probably pick up the pace a lot faster, because you guys have been through it. So, I commend you on taking in that leadership role. And another leadership role that has to take place is now NIL. NIL has become big in college sports, and for student athletes. And I think it's great that you guys get an opportunity to benefit from your name, image, and likeness. Talk about, your experience with NIL and how it's helped you and your teammates.
First of all, I just couldn't go wrong with thanking on the Victory to give me the opportunity to do other things that I wasn't able to before NIL. So thank you to On the Victory for that, to supporting us student athletes and giving us the ability to take care of family back home and stuff like that, and helping us financially. So I would like to thank On the Victory for that. But I mean, it's big, because I mean, as a student athlete, especially at Auburn with NIL, Auburn's not a big town, so you're always being watched. So you just it's just carrying yourself the right way 24/7, and then just know you're representing something bigger than you. And that's what you ask for when you come to a university like this.
No doubt, no doubt. And Zach, you got anything before I hit him with the rapid fire real quick?
No, let's jump into it.
All right, let's do this. So I always like to ask a lot of guys. I know in football where we like to eat, I always talk about myself, things I used to eat nights before big games. As a basketball player, you're always running. There's no stopping when you're on the basketball court. So what do you do to fuel yourself the night before a big game, or even the day of a big game if it's a night game?
I'm a pasta guy. So I'm a big pasta guy. But I mean, so we're either going to have team dinner, we're either going to have Makadas or which is hibachi. And I'm a big hibachi guy too, or we'll have Hamilton. So if we go to Hamilton's the night before, I'm a chicken Alfredo guy, blackened chicken fettuccine. That's what I'll get. And maybe some fries on the side if I feel like it, or some shrimp. And then at Makadas, it'll be chicken fried rice, double chicken. I'm a big guy with that. And then mainly just drinking a lot of water and stuff like that. And winning the hydration battle, make sure I'm hydrated, stuff like that, and ready to go the night before so I can perform.
Good deal. Pasta seems to be the go-to, Zach. He's the second player today that said pasta. That was my go-to as well. Pasta and some chicken wings. I don't know if y'all.
Trey was more confident with his order though than some of the other guys we've talked to.
Always.
Yeah. He already know. He walks at the restaurant. He know what it is. You can tell. Yeah, he knows. Trey, growing up as an athlete, who was an athlete that you looked up to, that you kind of liked their game and kind of like how they handled themselves? Like, who's that one person that was the athlete that inspired you?
Kobe Bryant for sure. I have Kobe tatted. I have a Kobe tribute tatted on both of my wrists.
Okay.
Kobe was a big thing for me, and just like a mental standpoint, he represented everything I wanted to be, and I carry that with me to this day. That's why my mentality is the way I am, and I won't ever settle for nothing less. So I mean, Kobe had he inspired me a lot, and just a lot of the stuff I do now is because of him.
Gotcha. All right, moving on down the list here. What makes you nervous about a game? Like if like what calms your nerves or what keeps you if you couldn't sleep, what is it that keeps you from sleeping about the anticipation of this big game that's coming?
The excitement, the opportunity. God can just being able to wake up that next day, and God wake me up next day and give me the opportunity that I've asked for, the opportunity that a lot of kids would die for. And then me being appreciative of that as well. I mean, just the anticipation, ready to play and showcase everybody and show everybody that I'm, if not the best, one of the best guards in college basketball.
Gotcha. Outside of Alabama, everyone always say Alabama because that's our biggest rivalry. What is the one team that you look forward to playing each and every year in the calendar to come out that you look at and say, yeah, I gotta have that game?
Uh, me being who I am, I've always been, like you said earlier, me being a football guy and basketball, I've always been overlooked because I play. It's hard. You know this as well. You say you were a dual sport athlete. Being a football and basketball guy, they're gonna overlook you regardless.
Yeah.
So with me being overlooked and stuff like that, I still get it to this day. And but whoever has the top guard, because I feel like just from past experience, me being overlooked, I want whoever they say the best is because I feel like I'm the best. And I've when I've gotten the opportunity, I've been able to show that I'm one of the best. And this year to come, I'm gonna show I'm the best. So whoever has the best guard, whoever has the best guard in the SEC, whoever claims to have the best guard, whoever feels like they have the best guard, because every night I step on the court, I feel like I'm the best guard, hands down. So whoever has the best guard, that's what I'm looking forward to go to every year. Whoever's on the calendar.
See, Zach can tell this man played quarterback before. See, he played quarterback because he's in control a little bit. He showed that leadership, and then he played DB because he want to stop. He wears that heart on his sleeve. That's what DBs do. So, I can tell that I can see the intensity in him and everything. I can already tell he's going to have a big year this year, and I know he's excited.
I can't wait for this season. I have something to prove for sure.
That's awesome.
No doubt, no doubt. Before we let you get out of here, man, Auburn is a big time, tradition school and everything. What's some of your favorite traditions that you enjoy the most being a player here?
I don't know. Probably I like Tiger Walk just to see all my guys, like football guys that I know that I came in with. I like Tiger Walk. I like how the send offs that we do, and I like obviously when the bird flies around the stadium. I mean, basketball, you don't. Well, I couldn't say because I'm not out there. I'm usually in there talking with BP or warming up. You don't really get as much of the tradition stuff as football.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're outside, they can do more stuff like that. They're not gonna let the bird fly inside. So I mean, it's just little things like that. But Auburn is I definitely love Auburn, like how traditional it is, stuff like that. My uncle being playing here, football here. And then my dad was committed here at one point. That's all they would tell me about. The tradition here at Auburn is crazy. So, I mean, I definitely appreciate the tradition, but it would definitely have to be Tiger Walk or the Eagles.
Okay. Well, basketball do have one thing they do really well, though, that football doesn't have yet. I know the students like to get there to the football games and warm-ups, but it's not the same as it is in basketball warm-ups.
Yeah, when I get there, I get dressed and I come out there already sitting there waiting on me.
Right. They sit there every time you make a layup, they say something. I can't remember what they say. Then you shoot a three, you make it, they go crazy. That got to be something that get you excited. Warm-ups,
it's definitely fun. There's nothing like the jungle. There's nothing like it.
Well, that's Tre Donaldson, everybody. We look forward to hearing about him more this year, having him back on the show when the season's going on, and talk about the great year that he's having. Hey, Trey, we enjoyed you on the show, man. The Auburn family appreciate your hard work and effort and your leadership, and NIL, like I said, appreciate all the work that you guys do in your name, image, and likeness as well. So we look forward to having you back. Thanks for coming on, and stay healthy, stay strong, and keep being a leader that you are. War Eagle.
No doubt. I appreciate y'all, War Eagle.
Thanks, Trey.
Thank you.
So there we go, everybody. Tre Donaldson. I tell you what, Zach, just listening to him, he already sounds a lot more comfortable than last year. You can kind of see the fire in his eyes. You can see that desire that I got something I want to go out here to prove to people that, that I made the right decision, choosing basketball. I made the right decision, in coming to Auburn. And, and people kind of been sleeping on me a little bit, and I'm about to show everybody. I like the challenge that he says about I look to see who has the top guards because I want to beat the top guard. That's what you want to hear from your players. That's what you want to hear from one of your leaders on the team. So, he got me excited. I've been trying to think of our freshman name because there's so many kids I got to know, from football to basketball to baseball, and everybody, and the young guys that just coming in kind of slips your mind a little bit. But, he seems to be, in a good place mentally.
Yeah. Naden Holloway, we're certainly excited about the freshman coming in, and he gave a good report on him for sure. But yeah, I think you nailed it, Jason. As far as the different kind of approach that Trey has had, both as far as off the court, like talking to us, and it sounds like he's being more intentional when he's on the court as well. So, and look, you've been there. You can talk about this way better than me, but I imagine, preparing for your first season in college versus preparing for any season after that at Auburn, it's going to be, you know what to expect. You know what it's like. And he wants more of it. I loved his answer when I asked about March Madness in the NCAA tournament. He's like, yeah, it's good, but nobody cares about the round of 32. Let's go farther than that. I'm like, okay, Trey, let's do it. Let's go.
Which is facts. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, for sure.
It's just like getting to the, it's like getting to the playoffs in football. You don't just want to get there. You want to play the title game. That was the biggest, disappointment. I wouldn't say disappointment, but the biggest thing that bothered me the most is you go undefeated. You had this great season. You had a toughest schedule out of the three teams that's competing for the championship, and you're the one that's left out of it. You don't get a chance to see what it's like to play on that national stage, where it's just you and another university. Even though we played Virginia Tech the night before, we was the only game on that night. But you want to be in that game.
Not the same.
Yeah, you want to be in that national title game, and I think that's a good mindset, because he wants to get to the Sweet 16. He wants to get to the Final Four. The 2019 team failed that. They know what it's like. We was a call away from being called to travel from being in the championship game,
right?
And everything. So, that's good to hear that they just don't feel comfortable that they made the tournament, because let's be honest, the year before we was a 2 seed and we got bounced in the first game. But then we got bounced in the first game of the SEC tournament. For 2 years in a row, we hadn't got past in the first game in the SEC tournament. So there should be some hunger to advance, because I think if you can win some games in the SEC tournament, you get some flow and confidence going into the NCAA tournament.
I'm with you. And that's what, Bruce Pearl's been so good at, as far as getting teams to peak at the right time. And that hasn't really happened the last 2 seasons. And a lot of that had to do with like shot selection. Like Trey mentioned, he kind of critiqued their shot selection from a year ago, and 3-point percentage over the last 2 years. And so what do? They go out and get a bunch of guys that shot really good from 3 at their previous schools at smaller levels of competition. And you hope that it translates to the SEC level. So I think Tre Donaldson, and you mentioned the other leaders like Jalen and Janai. Hopefully they can lead us there. I think that's I think it's a great thing. And yeah, talking to him, I'm fired up. Like I wish basketball started tomorrow at this point.
Yeah, I thought they 2 biggest recruits to get back was Jalen and Janai. You get 2 experienced guys. I think great locker room guys. I think that can help this team, especially with all the new guys that's coming in. You need that core still put together. And I think that helps in so many ways than people could imagine, because basketball has kind of been one door open, one door closes type deal. Like, to get a kid like Trey back in his second year is almost like that's what's to be expected, but you can't expect that anymore.
Right.
That he's here again for another year, because so many guys are leaving and everything. And that Ole Miss game is lining up to be a good rivalry game. You kind of heard him mention some things about team wasn't as close last year, but they're closer now, he feels like, within 3 weeks of being what a team should look like. So it just makes it, the only reason I say that, because, Coach Flanagan with the Ole Miss, and then his son Al has followed him to Ole Miss. So it'll make it a fun rivalry, not a bad rivalry. It'll just be a fun rivalry to see how Ole Miss and Auburn play each other. Why? Because how much do Coach Pearl change up his calls? How much do it's a chess match, is what it is. And especially with Al playing for him too, that is a game I'm looking forward to, just because I want to see how do we respond to the chess match.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of those details, of course, just watching, we won't know. That's going to be more,
Mhm.
stuff that happens on the sideline in the locker room. But you're totally right. And it's going to be cool to see the interaction between Allen and guys like Jalen. I mean, they played together, 3 or 4 seasons? Like
Right. Mhm.
they're brothers, right? They've been
Right.
brothers for the last few years. And I'm sure, him playing at Ole Miss isn't going to change that, but it will for that night, right?
Mhm.
And because they're both going to want to win for their respective teams. So I'm with